Alright, it's time to take a look at a new set of songs that I've never looked at before. So, we've got the 10 UnFCed rhythm and bass songs at 150% speed over Guitar Hero and Rock Band, or specifically over GH3 and Rock Band Network 2, because everything else is done. And conveniently enough, there are 5 of each. So I'm going to go through the rhythm songs first, and then the bass songs. So this is a sheet that has existed for, I don't know, probably as long as the Allstrom sheet has, or thereabouts, and didn't really have much activity. I think maybe Guitar Hero was completely finished outside of GH3, but then Rock Band was just, there was loads of it and no one could be bothered, but it's actually been fully weeded now. Every single song except for 5 on Rock Band Network 2. So that's pretty good news. We're down to 10. Is it theoretically finishable? Probably, but it's gonna be really difficult. So there is quite a difference between the rhythm songs and the bass songs. The rhythm ones, I mean, I'll tell you now, it's Devil Went Down to Georgia and then the 4 Dragon Force songs. So these are difficult because they are pretty much just mirrors of their original lead charts, except with a little bit more rake strumming in, because hell, all 4 Dragon Force songs are at 200 BPM, 20 knots per second strumming at 150, thereabouts. I'll put them in an order. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. I think Devil is probably the easiest because there isn't really much of that horrible rake strumming. So let's have a look. It's pretty much just going to be the same as FCing regular Devil Went Down to Georgia, but a bit easier because you only play half of the solos, but you do get pretty much all of the hard solos. So, first thing you got is the classic 20 MPS strumming. Now it's 30. But with a 2-2 that's not too bad. Then you've got verse 2, which is worse. No difference, absolutely no different from regular lead. And then let's have a look at Devil's solo. So this is where you'll see you only play half of them. You kind of just go back and forth between the solos and the very easy rhythm riff. So Devil's solo isn't that bad. You do have the solo C strumming, but that's the easiest of the 3 bits of strumming in this song, really. That is 30 MPS. Then solo G, which a little bit slow but maybe a bit more difficult because you've got that red note at the beginning. It's just Devil Went Out to Georgia, there's nothing different about it. You're just playing some of the solos. And then you got Victory solo, which is very much the same story. However, it just so happens that pretty much all of the difficult solos are on rhythm. But I mean, this stuff isn't that remarkable these days, right? I say just missing everything in solo E. So naturally we have solo K. With a kind of funky transition out there. The good thing is we don't have that horrible P to Q transition anymore. Because we don't have Q at all, but because we don't have Q it means we have R. But R, I mean, yeah, it's difficult, but you got all the the whole pause in it. And guess what? You don't even have verse 4. This is what you got for verse 4 instead. But you can't wait to see it. Oh, what's it gonna be? Okay, so really there's no choke spot anymore. So that's clearly easier than doing Devil 150 regular. This is definitely the most approachable of the 4 songs. So, I mean, it's easier than all of the bass songs, maybe, barring Dystopia, perhaps, but very manageable. The Dragon Force songs are pretty unappealing. I'm not going to go into great detail about all of them, but just know that they're filled with the classic Dragon Force 2-2 strumming at 20 notes per second with breaks. So just like every other Dragon Force song that's already been done, except there's a little bit more of it because you're doing the rhythm charts. But the thing is with these rhythm charts is that they always include a bunch of the regular lead solos. So let's have a look at Heroes of Our Time, probably the easiest. First thing, just like, I'll just show you an example, right? But this is just the case for like every song, you know? Heroes of Our Time is not so bad, which is why I put it at the bottom. And you'll notice it seems like it's just a lead chart, right? But let's have a look at the main solo, which is actually at a slower BPM, which makes it a lot easier than the others for that reason too. Because you can just standard strum it. And of course the bits you do play are just unchanged from their originals. Easier than regular lead. And just as an example, this is the sort of stuff you got at the ending instead of the other strumming. It's just this. That's all 4 songs are just like this. You know what I mean? So you've got to be really good at raking and doing that thing where you can end with your thumb to do a 1 instead of a 2. You know, it's not very. There's just so much. Like you could pick any section, it'll be difficult in these rhythm songs. That's the issue. Next one is Operation Ground and Pound. I think it's pretty much definitely harder than Heroes of Our Time. So here's just an example. We've got the classic random hammer-ons. Still unchanged. Still as annoying as ever. And the ones in OGAP are kind of complex at times. And this is the solo you're given. At least we're not playing the Rock Band chart, you know. I'm quite tired of showing that one off. And finally, you actually play some rhythm. Yeah, not really much much to say, but he's still got that horrible ending in this chart as well. Come on. This transition. Horrible stuff. But, I mean, it's about as hard as a regular OGAP is, you know? Next one, Revolution Death Squad. Same story. I'll show you the bits I want to show off. We got Riff of Personality, which is pretty much the same, except it's got a harder transition. Straight into those chords. So let's have a look at that again. Try and hit A note. It's quite noticeably harder, I gotta say. And then let's have a look at the solo, the whole solo. A lot of this is rhythm. I think the entire Victory solo is rhythm. Kind of weird patterns this time. And then you're into it. Rev Death Solo isn't that bad, I guess, at 150. Seemingly arbitrary swaps and a random hammer on there. And the most evident in this next bit. Just doesn't end. All of the songs are like this, which is why it's pretty unsatisfying to even show them off. Because it's like, well, where the hell do you start? We'll have a look at the end, which is easier, at least, than the lead chart. Kind of random, but you could figure that out. Doesn't seem too bad to me. That's Rev Death. And the worst is, of course, everybody's favourite song, Through the Fire and Flames, which is just, there's no end. There's just no end to it. Every single chart of this at 150 or otherwise is just a nuisance. It's a burden on the sheets. So, Flames rhythm, there are a few sections that are pretty different. A lot of it is going to be very similar to just doing Flames 150 regular, to be honest though, such as Bridge 1. Oh dear, that was terrible. But yep, maybe there's like some note difference there, but not enough for it to really matter. So again, well, not again, but the part that is sort of famously different, one of the parts that's famously different is Solo Field 2, so I'll play that through the solo, just so you see what we're looking at. The difference, excuse me, the difference here doesn't really matter, because we're on Clone Hero. Probably matters on console though, so you can just do that, you know what I mean? But it is a harder pattern. And the solo is split, as you already know. You could make an argument on whether it's harder to do rhythm or the solo for any of these songs. You just get more and more strumming. Sam solo pretty much unchanged. I believe you get what there as well. And twin solo, you know, there really isn't much rhythm in this solo, is there? You get to skip Herman's, wow. And then we've got a strangely challenging Red Snake, because it goes not into a sustain, but a chord like that. Now it's not that hard, but it's definitely there. And then U rock, which is also kind of famously different. Honestly, not very difficult though, as long as you know it's there. You got all the time in the world to prepare. But it's clearly a choke spot, right? Flames, I mean, yeah, it's not really much easier than doing it on regular. That's the annoying thing about these rhythm charts, is that it's just, they're not really rhythm, they're just, there's a little bit of rhythm, but it's just doing the same songs again. So no wonder these haven't really been tried. Having said that, all of their counterparts have been done, so there's no reason why these can't be must be UnFCed forever. One thing I'll say, just be careful on Devil Went Down to Georgia. For some reason, I don't know how common this is, but there's a chart of this going around that looks like this, and this ain't gonna cut it, I'm afraid. Not a chance. And verse 2, I don't think it is any easier actually, but just don't do this one. I don't know where this chart comes from, to be honest. There's a little thing at the beginning that says the Korea boss battle version of the song. Don't do it. The one that says it's the Korea boss battle, don't do it. Okay, that's rhythm. So we're gonna move on to bass now, though. This is all Rock Band Network 2. The first song here, and by the way, all but one of these is K-Trop. So what have we got? We've got pretty much a bloody mirror of what we've got on rhythm. One artist dominates, and this time it's K-Trop. So Dystopia on bass is all of these are pretty difficult. I mean, I could maybe do 2 of them, but I think there's a big difference between these bottom 2, the middle one, and the top 2. So Dystopia, we want to play a substantial amount of the song. Where do we want to go? Guitar riff through to heavy part 2. There's just like a good minute or so that's pretty challenging, but there are standout difficult parts. We got this riff which you can luckily just like kind of strum through. It's all depends on hopos, so you don't really need to count it. Well, here comes some real big money here. Really strange. We've got the same trills guitar. Got these rapid reverse quad chimneys, this Spock thing here. After that, it's not so bad, but it's pretty difficult to get to this point, I would say. We got one more kind of tapping bit here, which, if you're sensible, shouldn't be too bad. Very approachable. We've seen K-Trop songs already been done that are pretty difficult. They all have the same kind of shtick. It's just some of them are a bit worse at 150, and this one is kind of annoying because the patterns aren't very simple. And that bit pre-solo, or at the very beginning of the solo, is pretty bad. If you break it down, you can do it in like triplets, but you know, it's not very natural. So I'd say that would be the most difficult part of the song. You can kind of just, you know, mouse your way through it, as you can do with a lot of stuff. Dystopia also kind of chokeable, because we got this strumming at the end, but if you just realise that it all ends on ups, it shouldn't be the biggest deal. I'll do it like Kyle Lucas style if you so desire. It's not too bad, but under pressure, pretty donkable, I suppose. A bit like guitar. I think guitar was almost exactly the same. I think guitar is maybe a harder FC than this. I'm not sure. I don't really remember. Okay, that's Dystopia. Very manageable. That one will probably be done soon, to be honest. Hell, it might be done by the time this video comes out. But as of this second, it's not FC'd. So that's it. Next up, Thief in the Night. The Thief in the Night Part 1. This is a bit trickier than Dystopia, but it's on a similar level, and I can see it being done pretty rapidly. So this is tricky. This main riff is really tricky. The paradiddle riff. I'm terrible at it. Something just doesn't compute. I think this specific variation of it only happens, I guess, twice. When they do it and it changes frets, it's a bit easier, and that happens a couple of times, but it's just really difficult. So if you can do it, you can do it. I just can't seem to be able to get it ingrained in my head. Anyway, the main thing is the guitar solo, generally the case with most K-Trop songs. The bass is the money. I'm going to play it through to the end as well, because you'll see everything the song has to offer. But more quirky patterns, more weird idiosyncratic things. This is more awkward than it looks. Nothing in that is absolutely insane, but there's just a lot of it. It just keeps throwing stuff at you. Then we get a bit of respite with this verse. Yeah, you probably want to be damn warmed up to attempt this song. And yeah, the paradiddles. I think it's easy to just keep track when it keeps changing up like this. Well, this is like hella chokeable, right? And so is this. It's relentless. It's a kind of a relentless song. That's a good minute and a half that doesn't really let up. It is fun. It is pretty fun. So it's quite appealing to go for, I think. But it's difficult, right? And here I am saying it again. It's difficult. Well, no kidding, it's difficult. If it wasn't difficult, it would be done. Endurance Fest. A few things you'll definitely want to make sure you know what you're doing with. Things that are kind of sleeper-ish in the sense they're probably harder than they look, such as the very beginning of the solo, in my opinion. But nothing there that's really going to be a physical challenge that much. Unlike the next song, which is the non-K-Trop song, it's Heavy Weather. This is a mess, and very, very difficult. This is a big step up from Thief 1, I would say. So, first thing I'm going to show you is sort of our teaser. The verses in this song are very strange. There are two of them. I'm only going to show the first one. Oh, come on. At least hit it. There's a trill leading into it, as you just saw. And then you're into this like tempo changing strumming with chords. Just strum too fast and that shouldn't be too bad, honestly. I did pretty terribly there, unnecessarily. But, you know, it's just kind of annoying to have to deal with these sections when this exists, and this is the true money. Right, we talk about teleports in this game. Now, you need a teleporter to do this section, unless somehow you can one-hand those mini trills. But it's not the wrong way around, right? If it was blue, orange, blue, yeah, no bother. One hand. This, I mean, someone could do it. No doubt. I couldn't. It's just mad. I won't grace you with another attempt, but that's sort of what it looks like. Maybe you could elbow from it. Maybe you could. Oh yeah. Come on. But you see. This is mental. Well, you get the idea, right? That's one method I could think of that could probably work, but you do have to sort of get into it. So yeah, this is a ridiculously difficult section, need I say it. One of the hardest the game has to offer on any instrument, but you got to do it. Heavy weather somehow just extremely difficult on bass and keys at any speed. Yeah, and then you've got a kind of chokeable ending. It's nowhere near as bad, but you just got one more transition. So good luck not throwing that away. I'm sure you won't, whoever you are. Really annoying, not very fun at all song to play, and well, maybe you like it musically, I don't really. Not that that has much to do with anything. Heavy weather. People that are very fast at one-handing, or people that can just teleport like it's nobody's business, will be able to do that, no doubt. So, excuse me, I don't think that'll be UnFCed for forever. But clearly hard in the first two. Next one, we've got Hourglass Paroxysm Part 2. Welcome back. Everybody's favourite, but on bass it's a bit of a weird one. Very difficult for a couple of reasons. One main one, and that you got to be a bit of a chord god. So the first chorus isn't too far into the song, but this is the smallest of the two choruses. Let's just have a look. Look at that, it's like Gemini, but way faster and way more of it. So that's the first chorus. We'll just have a quick look at it again, because it is a bit of a blink and you'll miss it. You can break it down and figure out what the notes are in that bit, but it's still very difficult. And for me personally, I end up doing an accidental anchor all the time. Maybe if your hyperspeed was like fast enough and your highway was long enough, it wouldn't be so bad. You could just read it, but it's still quite physically difficult, I would say. Then you've got this isn't actually quite that dense as far as K-Trop songs go. You do get a lot of breaks, I'll say that much, but it is also a 6 minute 40 song, because it's 10 minutes normally, right? So a lot of waiting around for the difficult stuff. Here is what's difficult in solo 2, kind of weird, just teleport moosing pretty much, unless you want to be, you know, good at the game and play it normally. This is solo 2F. So yeah, strange patterns, very fast transitions, and you got 3 of them in a very small window that are double transitions at thereabouts. You've got a alt strum to do whatever you want to do here, to back down here, 3 times. Not really the reason the song is UnFCed, but it is annoying that they're there. It's slap bang in the middle of the song. Then you've got a lot of waiting around to do. Solo 3 is not difficult on bass, thank goodness. But guess what? We got a double chorus right at the end. So you're going to want this to be pretty automatic, I think. You want to be able to do this every time with no pressure, because you're going to have pressure, right? This is 5 minutes in. Not exactly the longest song in the world, but for 150, being 5 minutes in is quite far in, I gotta say. So yeah, that's all there is to paroxysm. I don't think there are any particularly tricky sections anywhere else. Maybe I'm wrong, but these are definitely the most notable. And it seems doable, but those sections are clearly quite difficult, right? I personally, I don't think I've hit any of the... I've not hit the full second chorus in a wanna. Not for lack of trying either. It is genuinely quite hard. But yeah, not the hardest. I wouldn't say it was harder than Thief Part 2. And it's for the obvious reason, but not only because of that. But really, I mean, if Chorus 2 wasn't charted like that, it would probably be... I doubt it would be done, but it would be... I don't think it would be harder than Paroxysm. So let's have a look. I'm going to play solo A to pretty much the end. So we've got some weird stuff in the solo, nothing too bad. Especially with Mr. Moose at our side. But moosing is probably not going to save you on Chorus 2. Because that is just so ridiculously fast, right? It's a physical challenge to do that method normally, just on Clone Hero for me. Like, to do that... insane. I'm sure the best tappers could do it, though. But then you got this! Hello, remember this? But that's not all. We've got this bonus material as well. It wasn't hard enough, says K-Trop. We need to add that in as well. For any suckers who thought that 2B was chorus 2 was it on this song. Yes, you can just flail and hit it, like you just saw, but come on. Even though you've got the paradiddle stuff, that paradiddle stuff isn't free either. So this is extremely chokeable. Nowhere near as long as Hourglass Part 2, but clearly the difficulty of chorus 2, I would say, trumps anything in Paroxysm. And what is it with the choruses as well? So what's the NPS? It's 45 notes per second. Can I hit it even once? Come on. Yes, I can. But what about the whole thing? Oh. Come on. Holy crap. Last note job. Let's go. There we go. It's possible. If I can do it, no doubt you can. But obviously you got to get that far and come out of it. So it's just way more than just hitting these 40 notes, need I say it. Maybe you disagree, maybe you think Paroxysm is a bit harder than that, just because, I mean, that sort of pattern can be hit, whereas the stuff in Paroxysm is a bit more unusual and not really seen anywhere else. But it doesn't really matter. I think these two K-Trop songs are a bit worse than, say, Heavy Weather. And Heavy Weather definitely worse than the bottom two K-Trop songs. They can all be done. I'd say they can all be done for sure. Whether enough effort goes into making that happen, I don't know. Remains to be seen. But I'm confident that all of these can be done. All the rhythm ones clearly can be done as well. So this spreadsheet could be finished. Just... Will there be as much activity on it from now? Maybe. I could see Dystopia and Thief 1 getting done very rapidly after this video, if not already. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, and I will see you in the next.